Okay, so in this class, I brought you some examples of resumes, things to do and things to not do. And I think visually makes it easier. I can be talking here and I can give you some pointers, but I also think, if you can visually see the examples of resumes, things to do and things to not do, I think that actually helps a lot. So I brought you some examples here. So bear with me as we go through those things. Obviously, some of those were made up just for the sake of explanation and to make things easier for all of you. Some things are completely out of the box, but let me tell you, we do see those things every now and then. Okay, I don't want to say that throughout my career of recruitment that I used to see those every single day, but yeah, you do see errors here and there, things that people shouldn't be doing. So I just wanted to bring this to you so you can have that in the back of your mind. And every time that you're customizing your resume or that you're creating your resume, that you keep that in mind so you avoid doing those things. And at the end, I'll show you an example of a good resume and that has a little bit of the very interesting components. Okay, so let's get started. The first one that I have is from Ricky Lombardo. So basically, Ricky Lombardo here, obviously, we only have a few snapshots, right? So don't even worry about names and information. This is obviously made up. So Ricky is someone who is trying to bring some personality to his resume, but he went a little bit too overboard. So if you look at his objective, you can see, he's saying that he's a passionate UX designer. And then he says, when I am not wireframing, you will find me advocating for the Democrats or enjoying quality time without my ex wife. Okay, so let's just talk about this for a second. You probably know by now that on your LinkedIn, we do expect to see a little bit of your personality. It is important for us to know who am I this person that I'm looking at? Like, and if I pick up the phone, what I'm probably going to get. So, having a slight touch of your personality on your LinkedIn is pretty okay because, again, it's your social media. However, on your resume, we do not want to see that. You can add some of your interests, you can add a little bit of your hobbies, you can add a bit of your touch. However, resumes, they are simple, they're straightforward, they're professional. They should not have information like this. This is too much information. It's too much information even for LinkedIn. You don't need those things in your resume or your LinkedIn. So this is an example of what to not do and things to not share, right? If you want to talk about your political preferences, and your personal situation, sure, you can do that, but definitely not in a resume. I think we have to always think about it. What I am trying to get from this, if I say something like this, what is the branding? What is the image that I am passing, that I'm putting across? And also, like, what am I getting out of this? Like, am I getting an interview because I am advocating for the Democrats, or because I'm divorced? So just keep that in mind, and definitely not a good idea. Also, he has a profile picture that is definitely not professional. So again, big no no in this example that we see right here. Okay. Second example that I want to bring is about Melissa. So Melissa, when you look at this, you're like, oh, that's cute, right? And again, also the picture. We know that we don't need the picture in resumes, in especially in Canada. However, I hope that you saw by now there are some spelling mistakes. So nowadays, guys, with spelling check, with AI, with having someone maybe to check things for you and have a second pair of eyes on things, it is almost not acceptable to have grammar mistakes, right? We understand that those things happen. I mean, most of us are immigrants, most of us don't have English as second language. However, we have tools to avoid those things. So when you see administrative assistant, there are spelling mistakes right there, right? Here, calendar management, right? So there are some spelling mistakes and some grammar mistakes right here, and it's just specifically on top, like right at the beginning of the resume. So be very careful about that. Again, double S's, that is easy to miss. Another one that I've seen very frequently is when you put your skills and the tools that you know. Some people would write the Microsoft suite, right? So like the whole suite of tools and programs that Microsoft have. And some people will write suit, like suit and tie. All right. So there is an E at the end. So just be careful about those things because this is an error that I've saw more often, to be honest. Okay. So no grammar mistakes. We got to be smart about that. This one, okay, this is the third example. The third example here, it has, it's pretty well formatted. Like, so I don't mind this at all. So you have your dates, you have the location, you have the title, and then you have the bullets. But when you actually go and read those bullets, those are two things. One, they're absolutely task related. If any dental assistant in the world would have those topics in their resume, they can be equally the same. This is exactly what any dental assistant would do. So, in your resume, we want to differentiate you. What makes you different from others? What makes you uh, to get this job? So, I'm hiring for dental assistants. I'm reviewing 100 dental assistant resumes. Can you imagine if I receive all my resumes like this? Assisted dentist during patients' examinations. Yes, obviously. Like those are all, was AI generated. Like immediately you can tell was AI generated. And this is just task based. It doesn't give any insights to you or your expertise or what differentiates yourself. So on your resume, we can absolutely use the ChatGPT. You know that I use that all the time. You have to know how to use it, and you have to give the right inputs and write the right information about yourself and your experience so AI does a good job, right? So here it's very much a general dental assistant resume that, again, any dental assistant could have that. And if you just change the name up top, it would work, right? So that's not ideal. Again, we have to customize based on the role and obviously based on your achievements. So here you could have something like assisted three dentists at a time in their practice, supporting over 50 patients a day, right? So we can have a little bit more quantifiable and something that really talks about you. Or something, for example, let's say that you're very empathetic or you're someone who's always like positive. Maybe you say, greeted patients in a positive mindset, blah, 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 blah. So just bring something that represents you. Okay, this is about format. This is about fonts. Okay, so again, format is fine, but the font, it's not ideal. We cannot really read easily. And remember, the recruiter, it has very few seconds to decide and determine if they're going to proceed reading a resume. If we have a font that is not really clear, we really need to, to come closer, and that's not making their lives any easier. We need to make their lives easier. That's what I tell my clients all the time, and I'm telling you right now, your goal is to connect the dots for the recruiter so they don't have to think too much. Your goal is for them to be able to make a very quick decision about um, reviewing your resume and picking up the phone and calling or sending you an email and scheduling an interview without having to think twice, because right at the beginning, in front of their face, there is everything that they need. So let's make clear for them. Let's use the right font. Let's use the right format. Let's have the right content so it's easier for them to make this decision. Okay? Like if you see the content here, it's not bad. Like they say, exceeded quarterly sales by 20% on average. So like those are all great. But again, the font, not good. Now let's talk about Patrick. There are a bunch of things happening on Patrick's resume here. So I'm just going to zoom out a little bit so you can see the whole thing. Great infographic, if you want to ask me. I see this is more like an infographic than anything else. This is absolutely not a resume. And if you were maybe in design, maybe you want to have something different, that would be cool. But again, there are several issues with this one, and I hope you can think about some issues already as you see those. But first one that I want to point, um, it's not professional. Okay, so like this picture, it's not professional. It's again, it's more an infographic than a resume. Also, it lacks content. So see, it only has this very tiny information about them, about what he actually does, but it doesn't say anything else. It has his interests, it has his skills in a graphic, which an ATS, an applicant tracking system, will not understand because this whole resume is a graphic designed resume. There is not a lot of text here. So the only text that AI might be able to get is the about section or the title, right? The high school. But this is not enough. So in ATS, this resume will probably wouldn't pass. This resume wouldn't pass the filter of ATS. And then Patrick might be like, oh my God, I have such a cool resume. It's so nice. It's so colorful and has all this information. But well, it's not text based, it's graphic. So once you have a graphic like this, you have percentages, you have icons, all those things again look super cute, but they any good for you, any good. So that's something that we need to be very, you need to pay attention. Another thing that Patrick does that is also not interesting is that he uses a lot of buzzwords. And a lot of people think they're like, especially in consulting, for example, people love some buzzwords. But so here, if you see this one here, for example, emoji communication, what does that even mean? Right. So, and why is that a skill anyway? Did I level patient? What like again, is that a skill? So he's using too many buzzwords to make it look cool, but it's not really coming across that professional or really giving the information the recruiter needs. As a recruiter, yeah, sure, I understand that he's a customer service representative, but I am not getting the extent of his experience from this resume. Okay. Okay, let's look at Veronica's resume. So Veronica is actually a graphic designer, but it actually scares me that she's a graphic designer because her resume, it's all formatted wrong. Look at this space between the letters. Look at the indent here. Look at like how this box is not aligned with this box, not aligned with this box. The spacing between here and here is different, which is here is different too. I mean, it's all over the place, right? Also, again, very fun, cute, but is that what they really want? Guys, maybe you are a graphic designer and maybe you are applying for a very creative role. Understand your audience, understand who is going to be reviewing your resume. I would probably have a text based resume and attach a very cool, nice designed resume if you are in the creative space. Okay, because again, this type of resume, if this is a picture, can you see that this is a picture? When it's a picture, ATS does not read its content, it only reads when it's text. So when I have all these bars here, when I see all these progression bars, ATS does not understand that almost totally filled bar means 93%. It does not understand. So those things are really important to have because it's important to have to talk about this because we need text over graphic. Okay. We also need formatting. We also need alignment. So all this information here, they should be aligned, indent, all the right spacing. This counts a lot. We need to again make their lives easier. Then I have Wilbur. Wilbur, it's a very interesting resume. So Wilbur has a science resume and he literally just graduated. But if you look at his profile, if you read the profile, you're gonna think that he's someone with 20 plus years of experience. Let's do this now. New graduate with a degree in biology who pioneered cancer research at Princess Roberta Hospital, completed groundbreaking innovations which helped cure dozens of case or cancer patients naturally. I mean, wow, right? Like Wilbur is the shit. He's so good. but he just graduated. So what is the problem here? Resumes are supposed to make you look good. Absolutely. Yes. And I'm going to be the first one, trying to make your resume looks good and trying to make you look good for recruiters. But this is way too much. This is a stretch, right? How a new graduate would have, pioneered cancer research or groundbreaking innovations. I mean, maybe, yeah, he was part of, very cool projects and really supported groundbreaking innovations, but we have to use the right words. So, for example, maybe supported groundbreaking innovations and things like that. So, yes, while we want to look very cool and very good on the paper, we need to be aware of the words so we don't inflate them too much. And then we cannot really back up our experience, because everything, like, the resume accepts everything, paper accepts everything, but are you going to be able to sustain that experience in your interview process? That's the most important thing for you to think about it. If you are, good. So that is what I wanted to show you as this example. And I also want to talk to you, like, lastly, in terms of what not to do. It's your LinkedIn PDF. So I have this in here, actually PDF mine, just for the sake of the example. So we can talk a little bit about the difference, right? In the previous class, you've already learned that resumes are supposed to be on point, focused, how you can really contribute and how your experience really matches the role that you're applying to. So it's kind of like a combination. You have the job description, you have your full resume, and then you create a customized resume for that role. Whereas your LinkedIn is your social media. You have all the information, all your story on your LinkedIn. Just by checking this, my LinkedIn PDF, it's 7 pages. 7 pages. If I was the recruiter, do you really think that I'm going to go through this? I wouldn't. I would not. So never, ever use your LinkedIn PDF as an example, as a use of your resume. A lot of people do. And that's something that I see very, very often. Do not do that, because your LinkedIn is not your resume. Okay, here, yes, I have some, important information. You have my certifications, my languages, top skills. Sure. But just by summary, look at this. Just a summary is like 1.5 pages. No. So big no here. This is not something that you want to do. And now, obviously, you're going to have an optimized resume. You're not going to need that. But this is something that I would like for you to remind yourself, that you do not use your LinkedIn as your resume. Okay. So I'm just going to go back here to show then. So what a good resume example do you have? So, I mean, obviously, I've studied and I tried different templates. So there is one specifically that I use with my clients, and obviously that's the one that I'm going to use with all of you guys. But I just wanted to, as I was doing some research, I was like, I'm just going to, Google some resume and I'm going to try and show here. This is 99% there, and I'm going to show you one thing that I do not like about this resume, but everything else I do. If you see, it's really cute, like straight to the point, easy, professional, not using super crazy colors. You have, your name, you have the title. This is super important. Always have the position title that you're applying for. You have your contact information right in front. You're always going to have the one that is easier for them to reach. So it's phone. You put phone first. If it's email, you're going to put your email first. And then here, it's actually interesting because they were able to format in a way that is so straightforward that they even had a time, space to have this column on the right where he talks a little bit about the philosophy of his life. So you see here the difference between this life philosophy versus the first example where they were talking about, political preferences and, not hanging out with his ex-wife. So that's the difference. So here I can still see some of the like a little bit of the personality or a little bit of like this person, but not exaggeration. Like I'm not sharing too much. You also have your strengths here, which is very interesting to have. Obviously, your skills, achievements. This is really, really important, especially if you do have your achievements, for us to highlight those things. And here on the left side, you have a summary, straight to the point, the experience that they have. And then if you see here, it's all very quantifiable. So let a team of 5, junior analysts, manage a portfolio of 50 clients, 100% of accuracy. That's the type of resume that we want. We want to talk about proof. We want to show people, instead of just saying, oh, yes, I am great financial analyst, accounting analyst. I am great. I am great because I was actually able to improve productivity by 20%. I am great because I actually prepared financial reports for more than 30 clients, which people usually take, 10 clients at a time. So all those things, they it's almost like a social proof that you are good. So every time that we think about your resumes, let's think about adding as many numbers as we can to your resume. Okay. And then they have the education, the languages. This is why I only said there was 99% to my like. Okay. Obviously, some people might disagree. The reason why is the bar here. Okay. Because as I mentioned, this is a graphic. ATS does not read the graphic, does not read what the 5 points mean or what 3 points mean. Okay. The good thing, though, is that they have the word. So they say English native, Spanish advanced. So ATS will be able to read the word. So then that wouldn't be too bad. But then this graphic here kind of like, it doesn't really help. It kind of like can be a problem. All right. And then you have the awards here again. So this is a really good example of a good resume, and I hope this gives you a little bit more information of things to do, things to not do when we talk about resumes, and now you really can feel confident about reviewing your resume, customizing your resume, understanding things to do, things to not do. And if you see something that your friends are doing, your colleagues are doing, you can probably just, raise a point of attention for them as well. All right, well, off to the next class, and best of luck with that one.